So yeah, so we're going to show you just our favourite summer swaddles and sleeping bags, not the whole range, because if you've looked at our website there's quite a lot. So we'll just show you, because we get questions every day, what's your favourite, what's the best one, what shall I have in this situation. So we'll just tell you about our favourites and the ones that every day we tell people is the best one. So summer Woolbabe comes in lots of colours. Tekapo Stars is just being unpacked because we sold out really early. And this summer, so we do Tekapo Stars, Tide Stars, Dusk Stars, Pebble Stripe. Oh my goodness, I got completely carried away. So 6 colours of summer Woolbabes this year. Yeah. And all of those options are available in 3 to 24 and 2 to 4 years. We didn't do a summer Woolbabe yet in the little mini size. Yeah. So, but we do have in our cotton bags. So anyway, so summer Woolbabe I already blabbed on about quite a bit. It is our #1 recommended sleeping bag for summer. It is the most expensive, sorry about that. But if your funds allow, it's really worth it, and they do last incredibly well, and they keep their value well so you can sell it later. But the reason, you can see they're huge. So a lot of sleeping bag companies, they're cheaper, but you have to buy like every 6 months the sizes change, so you end up buying 3 or 4, whereas these are huge and you just tuck the excess underneath, or you just leave it dangling in the cot. But these are they use all the best components, the best zip, best brand of snaps, heaps of like extra details, like the fact that the travel slot is closed with Velcro so the foot can't go through it, all of that stuff. Double zip, so you can get your buggy, you know, if you're using this for a nap when you're out and about, you just put your buggies through there. Don't use them in the car, it's not safe to use sleeping bags in the car. I digress. Anyway, so the main advantage that you get with a Woolbabe over a cotton bag is that 30% of merino that helps with the temperature regulation. Real good? Yep. Okay. So if you want a bag that's cool but also covers that range of temperature, that doesn't get cold and clammy and sweaty, summer Woolbabe is the one you want. And how cute are the new prints?
Oh, cute.
Okay. And then if your bedroom is, so that covers temperature range probably like 24 up to however hot. 35 is what I tested it in. And in the summer in Fiji, took it on holiday, was super good. But then still worked in the bure in Fiji that had like insane air conditioning, or it worked outside parked under a tree in the daytime, so it covers a big range. But if your bedroom is normally kind of more 18 to 26, 27, then you might be better with a 3 seasons Woolbabe. So it's 2 layers of our Woolbabe fabric. But if your bedroom is getting over 25 regularly, then you definitely want to invest in a summer bag as well as a 3 seasons. So yeah, summer bag is our #1 pick. A second favourite sleeping bag, definitely close, silver medal, no, maybe joint gold medal, is our Sleep Store cotton bag. So these are made to the same size specifications as Woolbabe. We do a 0 to 6 month in this, 3 to 24 and 2 to 4 years. And I think in a couple of colours we've got 3 to 6 years for really tall kids. What can I say? It's got certified organic cotton and made in a really small family-owned factory in India. They have had a terrible year. Honestly, poor people, so many of their staff had COVID earlier in the year. They were down to like 10% capacity because so many people were sick or just were isolating. So they've had a terrible, terrible year, but they still, that's why our bags are really, really late. But, you know, what can you say? It's just getting hot now, so it's all good. These are 1 layer of really beautiful, lightweight fabric. They have 5% elastane, which makes a massive difference to how durable the bags are. You'll know it if you, with cotton t-shirts, the extra bit of elastane makes them keep their shape. It's comfy around, you know, around the bits that need a bit of stretch, shall we say. I was trying to think of how to say that when you're talking about a t-shirt. But they do, it just really makes them retain their shape. And you'll find that these also use incredibly good components, and they will really last easily enough. Easily one of these bags will last until your child grows out of it. And when you buy a cheaper bag, the zip will give out, the domes will fall off, there'll be many things that could go wrong, but our bags are really made to last. And these are very lightweight, cool bag.
We should show all the new colours.
Okay, I'll show you all the new colours. I don't think they all come in the 0.2. I can't remember what comes in what tog, but I'm just going to show you all the new prints. Animal print, can't remember what we called it. Just call it animal print. What do we call this?
Waves?
Mocha
Waves?
I don't know, I went biscuit, but we were going to call it biscuit, and then we were like, oh, that's a bit weird.
And these sleeping bags just arrived today, so they're hot off the press.
Yeah. We got a few sent down by air freight, but air now, it's gone from before COVID, air was $2 a kilo, and now it's over $30 a kilo. Crazy. You don't get any bags in a kilo. So that's Mocha Waves. And this one, I really love how this turned out. Me and James have been wanting to do a triangle print for so many years. If you looked on James's computer, there's like 500 different versions of us trying to do a triangle print. But this year, triangle wins.
I think that's called melon triangle.
Melon triangle. Yeah. And with the triangles were going to be yellow, but it looked really ugly. We were like, no, no. And then this one you will have seen before. This is one of the only ones we carried over from other years. Green Star. And then I think this one just comes in a one tog. This is Tree. We'd also been wanting to do a tree print, and just check out the cute little tiny moons in the forest. We're thinking we might actually print this on a new merino range that we're toying with. So.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. Printed merino. Cloud. Cloud moon. Gosh, we really did get carried away. And then Wales. And then the other prints, which I don't think we did in the sleeping bag, is the Mocha Dot in the gown, sold out so fast, but more here. And there's Waves and other print. And sorry, I'm messing up here on display here. Oh, and then the Grey Star. We really did order so much. Cloud Star, and then these really cute stripes.
Oh, the ruffle suit.
Where's the ruffle suit? Oh, there's the ruffle suit. Here. Oh my God, look. It's based on our merino ruffle suit, which was also so cute. Okay, I'm meant to be talking about sleeping bags. I'm not totally sidetracked. Okay, okay, so what are we up to now? The next sleeping bags. Okay. So that's our other Sleep Still one. This comes from China rather than India. This is like part of our COVID, like survive not getting any freight. So now we make our bags in 2 countries just for fun, just to keep it simple. So they're just the ones that are just slightly thicker. It's a different sort of, it's not GOTS organic cotton because we couldn't get that in the middle of the pandemic at the time. But it's a really beautiful, I can't remember what it's, you remember? It's some other sort of
Ecotex.
Ecotex certified. Okay, then definitely in the top 5 summer sleeping bags is the little unicorn muslin. These do come in 0 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18, 18 to 24. They don't come in bigger than 18 to 24. And it's really just because muslin is just really not that durable. We've had very few little unicorn bags rip, whereas other brands of muslin sleeping bags, we've had seasons where like half of them have torn. But yeah, that's as far as we're aware. That's why they don't go bigger, just the durability factor. Muslin rated 1 tog, as I said earlier, but really light, and they're quite, you can see they're quite wide, but they've got no stretch in them. So if you've got a child that's a real wriggler, you might find that feels restrictive. And then definitely in the new top 3 would be the Purflo, and all the same things that we love about it in the Swaddle. It's got the mesh panel at the back, it's got the mesh panel running right down the sides of the body. It's got the buggy slot if you need that feature for you when you're out and about. And this has got a really cool zip there. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it opens from the bottom, so it's designed for easy nappy changing while not touching the top of the bag. So it's kind of a hybrid between a front zip and a side zip, and just normal armholes. And then in the highly commended, we'd have to give Kip & Co highly commended because their prints are the cutest. So this one's called Abundance, and I really wish I'd ordered it for myself in a duvet cover because it's so good. And then also our friends at Ergopouch, we've really low on Ergopouch sleeping bags, but we do have another humongous order coming. I couldn't really say when it would be here. It will be leaving Australia this week. It could be 2 weeks like normal, or it could be 6 weeks like COVID. So you'd think it's now taking as long to get stuff from Australia as it used to take from India, so go figure. So with Ergopouch, they do a jersey bag, they do sheeting kind of fabric, they do a number of togs. The key thing with Ergopouch bags to note is they're very skinny fitting, particularly the ones that aren't stretchy. So just be mindful of that, just in terms of look at the fit of them and how much wriggle room that your child likes. But they are organic and they are lovely quality and they're very good value.
What's the difference between jersey and sheeting?
Oh, jersey and sheeting. So jersey is like t-shirt, so with the stretch. Sheeting's like sheets, so smooth woven cotton with no stretch, like that. And another highly commended for cute patterns and good value is Wilson and Frenchy. So their bags are always popular because they're very cute and they match back to their pajamas. So we have got other brands of sleeping bags that we haven't talked about. There's just too many to mention, but we've told you about our favourites and hopefully got enough of a kind of taster of what their main points are. And as I say, we'll do some questions now, and if your questions haven't been answered, you can just fire them through afterwards, and we'll get through and answer some more tomorrow.
When is it better to use a summer sleeping bag versus a 3-season sleeping bag?
Ooh, when your baby's like hot or not that hot. No, I mean, there's kind of like the best thing to judge what bag to use is like looking at what you're using for your bedding, and then looking at how warm or cold your baby is. Like all our Woolbabes come with a room thermometer and they come with little clothing guide and all of that, but really what we as parents want to tell you guys as parents is you just use your judgment. Look at your baby. If they're red and hot, take some clothes off. If you know, in your bedroom you're sleeping with just a sheet and like no jammies or you know, like a singlet, think of what's the equivalent for your child. If you're still sleeping with a blanket or a light duvet, then that's like a 3 seasons or a 1 tog kind of weight. That for me, that's a really kind of practical way of comparing it. But you know, and if your house is kind of like, if the room where your child's sleeping is kind of over 25, that's a good kind of simple rule of thumb. Summer weight, 20 to 25 or 18 to 25, 18 to 27, that kind of 20s, that's 3 seasons, 20 below, something warmer. But it really, I just can't encourage you enough to just trust your instincts and trust your judgment. Like none of us probably had, I didn't have a room thermometer until baby number 4, and it was only because I was like, oh, what's this grow egg thing? And I did love the grow egg, but you know, you can just use your judgment as well. Don't need all the newfangled gadgets. Just feel your baby. Look, are they red? Are they sweaty? Are you sweaty? You know, these are the things that you can use as well.
Great. What age should you take your child out of a sleeping bag? My daughter takes her blankets off. Do you have summer weight suits?
Yeah, well, we do have the summer weight suits. We've got our Woolbabe, comes in summer weight or 3 seasons. What else do we have? I think Ergopouch. We've got the new Disney range from Ergopouch, if you're a Disney fan. The suits, the summer suits are coming in the Disney range. And I think we've got the Love to Dream suits in a 1 tog, and the 0.2 tog are just coming. So there are legged options, but we do sleeping bags up to 3 to 6 years, and there's no hurry for your child to get out of a sleeping bag. If they sleep well in it, carry on using it. It's surprisingly common how many kids go into sleeping in a bed still sleeping in a sleeping bag. I loved it because my kids didn't actually realise they couldn't get out of bed for quite a while, because my youngest 2 had been in a sleeping bag and a safety sleep until quite a long time, almost 2. So they didn't even know you could sit up in bed. But yeah, you just, if a sleeping bag works for you, keep using it. If you're worried about your child climbing out of the cot or tripping over, teach them to take the bag off. Ooh, that's risky. Or swap to a suit, which feels like a bag, but it's safer from the legs point of view.
Best sleeping bag for eczema?
If it's mild eczema, the Woolbabe summer bag will still be your best option because of the temperature regulation. Can be really helpful with eczema, and less likely to be kind of clammy and chafing. But if it's eczema that's even that little bit of merino would irritate it, I would go for our just the organic cotton, because our organic cotton from India has the highest rating of GOTS. Like GOTS certification is really staunch, so every part of the manufacturing, the packaging, everything has to meet really strict organic standards, and so that, you know, no less processing, all of that. So I would go for the organic cotton, and it's so soft. Yeah, I would go for that.
Nice. Someone would like to know, what would you recommend for a sleeping bag for their 1-year-old who's very tall for her age, over 85 centimetres, but I guess either sleeps through a Woolbabe because there's such a long leg?
Yeah, so these are designed to fit at least until 2 years with an average sized child. So based on this, the Australian standard sizing for children's wear, it says height from 62 to 92 centimetres. This here is about 95 centimetres from shoulder to hem. So remember, you've got a head on top of there, which often people forget to add the head. So I think unless your child, I think that this size would still fit a tall 1-year-old. If you go into the next size up, you can use the snaps to keep the chest. It's the chest measurement and the neck hole, which is the issue when you jump up to a 2 to 4 year bag. Yeah. So you're welcome to order both sizes, try them on, see if you think the bigger size would be a safe fit. And also when you go into the toddler bag, it's like 20 centimetres longer because it's designed to fit up to an average 4-year-old. So that kind of like, that's why it's got to be like a really exceptionally big 1-year-old to go into the 2 to 4 size.
I can tell you that I've got a 3-year-old and we have a summer, a 0.2 tog from last year or the year before, one of the Wales ones, and she wasn't well over the weekend, and she had a nap and she wanted to go into her whale one and she fit it. So she, and she, you know, it wasn't too, you know, but she's not tall, but she's not
she's
small.
average.
She's an average child. But I mean, she was to the end of it, but she still fit in it.
Yeah.
So it gives you an idea. It is a really roomy bag.
It's a roomy bag and it's very soft and stretchy. So I would say 1 year old, I'd probably still go for that size because you're going to use it through till probably March, maybe day naps a bit longer. Because even the lightweight ones are good for the daytime all year round. But as I say, our returns policy is ridiculously good, as you will have seen if you saw our outlet sale. But please don't wash them, just try them, and then decide which one you want, and send back the one that's not the size you want.
Someone wants to know how often a Woolbabe should be washed and the best way to get milk stains out of a Woolbabe.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably not the person to ask because I used to wash them not very often. My rule of thumb was only when they had they smelled or they were really visibly dirty. Like the fabric, you go for the darker colour. That's a good option. I don't know. I think they're designed to be looked after the way you look after a woolen jumper. So airing them and washing them less frequently. So you don't need to wash them every day or even every week. I would say once a month, maybe. I don't know. I can't tell you because I don't know if your children leak or whatever. But
I do mine every 10 to 14 days, maybe.
Oh,
yeah,
diligent washer.
Yeah. Depending, and then obviously if there's spills or anything like that, then that's different.
Yeah, if they've even a kind of a little bit of a nappy leak won't really make a Woolbabe smell if you air it out. Like a little bit of wee, but anything worse than that, fully wash it out as fast as possible. But really, you just need to judge it by, does it smell? Is it getting grubby? It's better to wash them if they're getting grubby around the neck. Wash them more often. Some kids just spill more. The chewing and the sucking is a problem. Stains, Sard Wonder soap is our kind of go-to recommendation, but you can also use any bar soap, Eco, just a old school bar soap. Like I use the Eco Store bar soap, which is really gentle. You could just rub a bit of that in, or Knight's Castile, or any of those kind of white old school soap. Something like that is absolutely fine.
Baking soda and lemon is something else that some people have
make a paste out of baking soda and rub it in, not too vigorously, and then just leave it for a bit. Or lemon juice, squirt that on, rub it in. And also sunshine is really, really good for stains. So any of those things. But there was a post that Coralie, who's our baby wearing consultant, Coralie had the moss. Coralie's watching. I hope you won't mind me sharing this story. You did post it in the VIP group. Coralie, while me and Coralie were doing we've been doing this baby wearing course through a school in New York, and it was first thing in the morning, and her 2-year-old was wearing this suit, and then she went out and played in the mud in the garden while we were on the Zoom, and she got all of the mud stain out of this just with old school white soap. So
good.
There you go. This is back in stock in sleeping bags too. Just saying, it's been out of stock for 6 months.
Is muslin bag, little unicorn, good for sweaty babies?
I would always say for sweaty babies, do what you can to get rid of what's causing the sweat. Check particularly what's under your baby, because too much kind of synthetic underneath can make babies sweaty, and try and cool the room down. But if you know your baby's getting sweaty, I would look to the Woolbabe summer bag if you can, because that stays comfortable even when it's kind of damp. Muslin is very light and airy, but if your baby gets this, the problem with the sweatiness is if they're sweaty at bedtime and then it cools down, and you get to that cold part of the night and they're kind of clammy, and then their clothes are clammy and it's not good. But you could get around that with a merino singlet suit, so the core stays comfy and then just the legs and stuff are sweaty. That might be another option. So TOG is measure of thermal resistance or something. It's like a technical thing, but basically it measures how warm things are. Okay, so the lower the tog, the lower the number, the cooler the garment or the sleeping bag. Tog also applies to like if you go to buy a polyester or a fat big duvet at somewhere like Briscoe's or whatever, it should have the tog on it. It may or may not. But in terms of sleeping bags, the lower the tog, the cooler. So when you email us and say, or ring us and go, what's the coolest bag? Look for the one with the lowest number. I will say it's not an exact science. And when you have your tog testing, there's a range. You get given a range. And so something that's like our cotton bags are 0.2. It's probably only fractionally cooler than something that's a 0.3 or a 0.4 or a 0.5. There might be, like I think from memory, this is like, it's 170 gram, 180 gram, I can't even remember. But it's, the next one up would be maybe a 200 gram fabric. So it's very small difference. These point tog, they're really cool. This is one tog. It's quite a bit thicker, so that's more like a mid-weight bag. This one's, I think we call this 0.4 tog. It's exactly the same construction, one layer, but this is just a thicker fabric. And so when it tested up at a higher number than this. And then, yeah, so that's basically how it works. So summer bags, you're looking at 0.2, never seen a 0.1 tog bag.
No.
Could invent it, but probably would rip. So yeah. 0.2 up to about 0.5 would be a summer weight bag, and then the ones that are around 1 tog are generally considered like a mid-weight bag, so they're kind of like 20 to 25 degrees. And then anything that's like 2, 2.5, 3.5, they're all your winter weight bags, with 3.5 being about as warm as they come. Because much warmer than that, it would like cook your baby, and you wouldn't want that. The one bag that we haven't got here that we forgot, and I think I sold all the samples in the sample sale, is a little unicorn muslin bag. Oh, do you want to go and just grab one off the shelf, because we moved? That's actually what we had to fit in the office while I was having the big cleanup, was because we've got about 1,500 little unicorn sleeping bags that were kind of like, we needed somewhere to put them. So little unicorn muslin bags are rated 1 tog, but they're muslin, so they're a bit of an outlier. People love them for summer because muslin's so airy and light and cool, but it is, in terms of thickness, it's got a number of layers in the fabric, and so that's why it comes out as 1 tog. Here's one, thank you. Here's one I prepared earlier. No, I didn't. Yeah, so that's a muslin bag. So when you feel muslin, it kind of feels like it's got more layers, but you all know, I'm sure, muslin is cool and light. So don't not get these because they're 1 tog. They're still really good for summer. I feel like I'm losing my voice, and it's early in the evening. This is potentially a problem.
Just while you're talking about tog, I know someone's just asked, I know we're going to Q&A at the end, but someone's asked about a Woolbabe. What's a Woolbabe tog? So it's a merino.
Yeah, okay. So Woolbabe is this fabric. These aren't, we don't give these a tog rating, and the reason we don't is that this fabric is 30% merino, so it behaves very differently to 100% cotton. So a summer Woolbabe is very similar thickness, I think, to this, which is a 0.4 tog. If you were to feel them, they feel very similar. But the merino in this means that it helps regulate temperature. If this gets sweaty, it's still, oops, I wasn't like meaning to diss that one and throw it on the ground, but the merino in it means that it will help regulate your baby's temperature. It will kind of stay really comfortable even if it's warm and if it gets sweaty. It helps with wicking the moisture and so on. Whereas a 100% cotton bag, well, these ones actually have like 5% elastane in them. If they get sweaty, they just go like cold and clammy. Same as if you go running or tramping or whatever, 100% cotton t-shirt will get clammy. So when I go tramping, I always wear 100% merino t-shirt, because even though they get sweaty and gross, they still stay quite comfortable. So that's why the merino is really good in a summer bag. That's a really long-winded way of saying this is probably about a 0.5 tog, 0.4, 0.5, but it has a much wider temperature range. And then the same with the 3 Seasons. Layer-wise, it would be similar to a 1 tog, 2 layers. But this one here, I know from my own personal experience, when Eddie was little, he actually used to wear this colour when he was little. The original summer Woolbabe was this colour. His bedroom used to get in the winter down to 12 degrees and in the summer up to 35 degrees, which is kind of horrifying, but with a crappy old house with, you know, no insulation. And he wore the 3 Seasons up to probably 28-degree room temperature. So, whereas there's no way a 1 tog, it would just get so hot and sweaty and gross. So, I don't know if that answers your question about tog. It's a bit of a long-winded saga. So basically you just want to go for the lower the number if you want the coolest bag, and if your funds allow, we would say always go for the summer Woolbabe, because it's the lightness of the fabric, plus it's got the temperature regulating and the dealing with the sweatiness, the comfort. Yeah. And summer Woolbabe is the newest bag, and we were a bit like, oh, would anybody buy that? And then we just have been blown away by how much people love it, and the reviews for it are so good. And every year we run out, because it's just kind of like really escalated in terms of people really understanding how good that bit of merino is when it's really hot.
So it comes up all the time, people, and I have it as a parent as well, like the room's really hot at bedtime,
yep,
but then the temperature drops overnight. So any tips on how to dress baby?
Yep.
What do we do in that situation?
Okay. So the answer to that probably depends a little bit on the age of your child. But our advice, the one that, like, if your child's sleeping through the night generally, and you're sort of not up and down to them, dress them for the coldest part of the night. Because if you dress them for the hottest part of the night, when the temperature drops, they will wake up cold, and you will have to get up and put more clothes on them, or change sleeping bag or whatever. So the usual advice we would give is dress your child for the coolest part of the night. And at bedtime, when you're putting them to bed, you might need to have a fan or aircon on. You might need the window open. You might need, if they're really warm, you might just need to like wash their face with a cold flannel. Because often if you kind of, I know when I've travelled in places overseas that are really hot, like India, we would like put all our clothes on wet and then go out, you know, and within a little while, that whole wet and then evaporating, that will keep you a bit cooler. So I'm not suggesting you put your child to bed in soaking wet clothes like we walked around India in, but you could like put them to bed, like use a face cloth and dampen their hair and their face a little bit. With the fan and the window open, probably be enough to cool them down enough to get to sleep. Some people talk about doing stuff like putting a bowl of ice in front of the fan. I don't know if that works. Has anyone tried it? Kind of feel like maybe it's an old wives' tale, an old old husband's tale. But I mean, I've read that in lots of places. I just kind of read it. I've never bothered. I've never fussed that much at bedtime. I just open the window and they go to sleep.
I leave the bedroom door open, the window open, and I've got the fan on it.
You kind of need the draft, and also experiment with which way your fan is facing. We've had lots of people say, put the fan towards the window so it does something. But yeah, just experiment. You can read a lot about.
Someone said that they've done it. I put a bowl of ice in front of the fan. It does cool the air a bit.
Lovely, thank you for that. So you could also do things like, I guess, I'm thinking when I go camping, I always freeze 3-litre bottles of milk, because a 3-litre bottle of milk stays frozen in your chili bin a really long time. So maybe the same theory, don't use milk in your child's bedroom. But, you know, like those 3-litre juice bottles, or even a 2-litre bottle, freeze it and try it with that, and it'll stay cold for a lot longer than actual just like ice cubes. And if you're going camping, seriously, 3 litres. And the other tip with camping is you need 2 chili bins, so you keep the cold stuff. Remember one Christmas, our lamb that we bought to barbecue for Christmas Day, 4 days later it was still frozen solid, and we were like desperately trying to defrost it on Christmas Day. So it really does work. I digress. Okay, so the other thing you could do, if it's a little baby that you're getting up to regularly anyway, then, you know, you're probably better to just add some layers through the night. So a little baby like a newborn, like this, you might just have them, you know, in a bodysuit or just the nappy and their swaddle. And then when you get up to feed them through the night, you could put like a gown or something on and then the swaddle. Or you could tuck a blanket over them, as long as, remember, with blankets and little babies, no higher than the armpits, because you don't want anything up over their face. So if you are adding a warmer layer over a newborn, a couple of options you could use, which James has prepared earlier, would be our super light but really perfect rib or any of our little muslin swaddles, or a Woolbabe swaddle blanket, because with these you can tuck it in just with one layer. You can see it's quite thin. Or if, you know, it was the middle of the night and it was really cold, you could tuck in 2 layers like that. I can't resist it, I have to show you our new blanket. These new blankets just arrived today. Again, I ordered these a year ago from a supplier that I met before the pandemic. So long ago. 2 years ago I met this supplier in Germany, and they're like expert organic cotton blanket makers. Just admire. So that, again, a light, hope you love it, a light cotton blanket would be another thing that you could tuck in at night when you go to bed. Yeah, so that's a couple more options. Does that answer that question?
Yes, it does. What do babies wear under sleeping bags or swaddles? Which is, I guess, it depends on the temperature.
Depends on the temperature. It depends on what you've got. Depends on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I think you can wear anything from just the nappy through to, you know, normal kind of pajamas, top and bottom. You can wear, you know, I think the most common probably under a sleeping bag year round would be some kind of little zip suit. I've got any Woolbabe ones left? I sold most of them, but I kept a few. We used to have about 60 samples in here, so I hope you all liked the sale. So a Woolbabe PJ suit, it's quite similar. Oh look, they look quite similar. That's the 30% merino and 70% organic cotton, so that's a really good versatile layer under a sleeping bag. Or the cotton version. Some people will just use a singlet suit or a bodysuit, because so that bodysuit just gives you the coverage on your arms, and then the legs are covered by the bag. Ooh, I think the last giveaway we're going to do. Oh, you've already got a giveaway running for this.
Yeah, we've got a giveaway running.
Yeah, we've already got a giveaway running
on the main page.
On the main page.
Closes tomorrow, so go enter. The PJ suits. Oh my gosh, I can't even.
Can't even deal. Look at that. You could wear these inside a sleeping bag. It's too cute. We're all so excited to have that colour back. It's crazy. I don't know why it took like years to come back.
I think with layering as well, as long as they're natural fibres, right? And just layering, just add layers, remove layers, depending on how hot baby is.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's kind of why we bang on so much about our Woolbabe garments, is because they're really, that little bit of merino makes it so forgiving in terms of it just covers such a broad range. So like we actually have now Woolbabe singlet suits. So, you know, if we had some people in our bag. Oh, this one just, James, just behind the gown. There's a little grey one. It's a bit further back, that one, yeah. If you're really not sure, if your baby's kind of sweaty and you don't know about getting a whole Woolbabe bag, or you want to use a muslin bag, one of these would be really perfect because it's lightweight, but it's still got that 30% of merino, which is really why we started doing it, because we were always saying, oh, you should have a little bit of merino, but in the summer people are a bit skeptical about using merino bodysuits in the middle of summer. So this one here, now you can do it because it's only 30% merino, and they're really cute. And we hope that was useful. I'm sorry I was so rusty and like lost my voice and waffled on, but I hope it was still useful. And thank you to James and Amelia for making this all beautiful. Good night.